Hello and welcome to Headset Abuse. Today is Sunday? Sunday today, the 5th of November, 2017. Happy Guy Fawkes Night, Mark.
Is that what it's called?
Guy Fawkes
Happy
Day? That sounds weird.
Morning? I don't know. It's
Fireworks Night as it's more commonly known these days.
National Terrorize Your Pets Day.
I thought you were going to say National Terrorize Your Government Day because of Guy Fawkes.
It seems to have devolved into just pets now.
Yeah, for pets.
Yep. Although our
We
cats
would-
don't seem to be bothered by it. They were all right last night. People were setting off fireworks.
That's
So
good. That's good.
we're more bothered if you
How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of preparations, trying to get ready for Mr. Darren's wedding, even though he's not here.
See, this makes me worried because I don't know what preparation you're. Granted, you're going to the ceremony, but like I don't know what preparations you're doing.
Mostly getting stuff for wearing.
It's not hard.
Yeah, but it's not just me. It's also
Are,
Dread.
are you going to feel kilt?
Do you think?
What?
No,
Mate, if I was going to the day, I would totally wear a kilt.
I don't do kilts.
Why?
Because I don't
Is it
like
the Dumfries in you? Are you like?
well fighting against it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The further south you go, the more that.
I just don't like wearing a kilt, so I got a suit.
Fair enough. I like an excuse to wear a kilt.
Yeah, I can't stand wearing kilts.
But granted, I have a beard like I'm going into battle
This
to
is
do
true.
their taxes. So unfortunately, the beard doesn't fit the rest of the visage.
Okay.
I'm not an imposing figure.
Really?
No, Mark, please don't. Oh, we need to talk about the most important news that's happened. The Astros won the World Series. Now, I know that you've barely been able to contain your excitement, Mark. But do you even know what sport this is?
Badminton?
Yeah.
The World Series of Badminton?
World Series of Badminton. Bobby Astro won the World Series of Badminton.
Bobby Astro.
He's Bobby Dabro's brother. Which is not how names work, but tell that to Bobby Dabro. So I was very excited. So the Houston Astros beat the LA Dodgers in Game 7 of the World Series. And it was a very exciting series. And
You make it sound so exciting.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is like me trying to talk about board games and then you just give me a fucking blank slate face, mother. So yeah, they beat the Houston Astros, won it for the first time ever, which is really nice because Houston's had a rough year, let's say.
Yeah. Yes. Let's.
So I was quite glad to have.
Didn't the same thing happen with the Super Bowl? Like the
Super Bowl hasn't been yet.
No. But like, remember there was like Hurricane Katrina, and then like the team that was in the epicenter of that wound up winning at some point.
When was Katrina? Wait.
Yeah, sure. Let's go for that. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't watch this.
New Orleans. Is that who was the winning team that year?
Yeah. Oh, okay. It might be the Saints. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So seeing as it was the World Series, who else in the world did they have to play then?
They played the Nicaraguan LA Dodgers.
All right. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shit name. What you want from me? I didn't name it.
Didn't you?
It's a really shit name. I name it every year. They ask me, and I'm like, nah, I can't be bothered thinking of anything else.
I just think it's real weird that they've had years to like maybe reflect on the name or bring like teams in other countries into it, and then be like, nah, you know what?
You're absolutely right, Mark. But North American sports aren't really known for reflecting on names and then doing the right thing and changing it.
Was it? Oh, was it the
like
Red
the
Sox?
Atlanta Braves. No, what? The Red Sox. The Red
Yeah,
Sox are
remember the
fine.
logo? Remember the logo was like the Indian guy, and they were gonna.
No, that it's the it's an American football team,
Oh, is it?
and it's the Redskins.
Oh
It's
yeah,
the
that's it.
Redskins
That's the one. I don't know
because the
sports.
Red Sox are just a pair of Red Sox.
All right. I don't know. People might
They used to
hate
be known as
Christmas.
the Red Stockings.
People hate Christmas.
Yeah, but no, baseball has their own. Like they've got the Cleveland Indians and the Atlanta Braves.
Right.
So not great. The Atlanta Braves is a tomahawk
Oh
logo.
yeah. Yep. There was. Yep. I
I
remember.
mean, but they don't generate as much. Like I think if they win the Redskins fight, they could have a better like chance at doing all the other really offensive names in the North American sports. I think they should go down the triple A, like or double A teams.
I think I say Triple
It's like
H.
minor league team. Triple H, yeah. Like the all the minor league teams in baseball have the most ridiculous names. There's a team who genuinely like players will that play in this team will one day be in the MLB, probably. They're called the Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
Yep. Okay, that's a pretty good name.
That's a pretty good name. Why would you stick with the Cleveland Indians when you could go with something like the Rumble Ponies? So Houston won it for the first time ever. And it was I would have been fine with anyone winning it. The Dodgers hadn't won it in 28 years, but I wanted Houston to win it.
Okay.
So also I won like 30 quid because it was down to the last four and the Astros weren't doing great. And I was like, do you know what?
In-play betting alley.
It's not in-play betting. No, they were down like it was the final four, as in like the semi-finals, if you will.
Oh, like games or like innings?
So there's no games
Okay, right. Okay,
like
never mind.
like series because they play.
Baseball's weird.
Baseball is weird, but it's great because it's the only like I think it's ridiculous that for the NBA finals they play 7 games.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as ridiculous in baseball because baseball players usually play like they can play up to like 18 days in a row. So it is day to day, like
Yep.
really like they play 162 games. It's not
It's like cricket to the extreme.
it's like cricket, but the other way around. Where instead of one long boring day, it's like 1,000 short exciting days.
Ah. Yeah, but no breaks for sandwiches.
It's constant sandwiches.
No stopping for tea.
If you ever go to a baseball
Oh
game,
yeah, there's food, but I mean like no one's like calling a halt to play to go
there's the
tea.
seventh inning stretch where they all sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." That happens literally every single baseball game.
Oh.
Stretch, all the players stretch out and sing, "Well, take me out to the ball game."
Aren't
Bill
they
Murray
already
did
there?
it.
Aren't they already there though?
Yeah, World Series. So you've been playing
Baseball
much?
and there's no forts. There's no bases.
No bases. I heard you picked up a new game.
I picked up 2 new games since the last time we talked.
What, Mark? Your game buying is out of control.
I know, right? I picked up and played a considerable amount of SteamWorld Dig 2.
Yeah, you've been talking about that game like
Yeah.
even before you got it.
Yep. It was one of those games where I was like, I want to play this and see what it's like, and then wind up putting like 8 hours one day into it. So that game's pretty fucking good. It's weird in the way that it ramps up, in that it's like if you don't know what the game is, it's essentially I don't want to say a digging simulator, but like you are tasked with like mining a
It's like
cave, getting
It's like
resources.
Mr. Driller, but
Yeah,
with
or Dig Dug, like that sort of thing.
yeah, with more roaming.
Yep, and leveling up and other abilities, and
It's like TikTok makes Spelunky.
yeah, kind of. except it's not one and done thing of like once you die, you're done. You get warped back to your town and you lose a little bit of resources. Um, the story is fairly interesting, but like the mechanics and like the fact that it's just kind of relaxing to play, make it really good. The music's great. Uh, but in the latter part of the game, it really fucking ramps up. Like, there's just a point where it goes, okay, we're not fucking around anymore. This is a video game. And it's like, here's a hallway full of spikes, and you can't touch the floor. And you're like, wow, this kind of came out of nowhere. So that was the kind of the point that I left it. But yeah, I think Darren picked up as well. He picked up on the Switch. I think he might be enjoying that. I've not heard his opinions on that. But I want to go back to that and finish that off. But yeah, aside from that, the big thing that I picked up was Super Mario Odyssey.
Yep.
Yep.
I've heard some things about that game.
Yeah. Super Mario Sunshine 2.
I what?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, thank God for that.
No,
I was like,
so there was a timeline released before the game of like, here's the scope of where this game sits, where it's like the 3D Land games and the Galaxy games were like one path of style of game, which was like short levels but multiple iterations of them. And then there was like the
where Sunshine
timeline
was a
of
more open.
yeah, more open, like which was 64 and Sunshine, and then this one sat directly after. Thankfully, this one's more 64 than Sunshine, because the game's really fucking good. It's genuinely one of the best Mario games I've played since 64, and it hits all the pleasure centers of like, here's some new stuff, here's some nostalgia. The level design is done in such a way that it not only takes advantage of Mario, but like any. So the main thing that not the main thing, but one of the big new things in this game that you've seen from the trailers is Mario is able to capture specific enemies or things in the environment and then use them.
And it's not all enemies. It's
No,
what,
no,
like
no. It's only
like
specific ones.
60 odd enemies. It's
Yeah.
like a good number. Like,
So I don't know how long I've played the game for because it's still at that weird thing where it's like, you've played this, you start playing this game 8 days ago, but we're not going to give you the time that you've played until I think it's 9 days prior to that. But I must have put like 30 hours into it at least, I want to say. Where was I? My train of thought. Yeah, so the level design is done in such a way that it takes advantage of these captures as well. So you can use them to navigate around the environment, or there'll be specific puzzles involved. Not that that takes over the main game that like Flood did for Mario Sunshine, because there's still a lot of Marioing in this. But there are some really, I don't want to spoil anything like later on, but there's some really cool things that you can do with those captures, and it takes advantage of some of those things. There are also just puzzles that allow you to ditch your cap and then just be Mario and not use any of that stuff, which are kind of like the small segments in Sunshine where you didn't have Flood, but obviously there's no shitty camera in this one.
so one of the best parts that I've seen is his new cap jump.
Yep.
Where you throw the cap, jump off it. So my absolute favorite thing about this is that so there's been a lot of like videos of people getting into places that you can't that you're not supposed to get to. You know, like platforming games, like most games, you try and break the mechanics to get to places where you're not supposed to be. I've been watching a lot of speed runs lately. That's basically what that is. Look at Dark Souls, look at like. But the developers have basically realized this and have hidden, like, they just hide big piles of coins or invisible coins or like random stuff in these places. And I've seen people like doing, there's one in like a temple, and it's
Yep.
basically the temple has this like
I've seen the exact video. Yep.
Yeah, kind of bas relief like archway, like, or like, you know, decoration above the door, and it's like you cap jump over to it, and then you cap jump out, and then onto the wall, then onto the top of the temple, and it's just this pile of coins. And you're not supposed to, like, that's it. That's but it's just it's the nod, it's the recognition, and I really really like that.
And that's not just in the hitting areas as well. That's kind of everywhere. And I feel like they've almost taken a hint from Breath of the Wild in regards to that there is shit everywhere in this game, and
Ugh.
you know what I mean.
You annoyed you don't have flood.
There's literally stuff everywhere, and every little aspect of it is either a neat little design, a nice view, or like something rewarding like coins, purple coins, or like moons. Uh, it it's weird in the way that like Zelda kind of reinvented itself when it was released earlier in the year, um, and this one was feels like a refreshed Mario, but when you dig down into it, it's not. It's still the Mario formula, but they've just polished it so much that like it almost seems completely different from what it was previously. There's just stuff everywhere, nods to Mario, like nods to Mario's past, um, nods to other games as well. It's just it's really cool, and it does some really like amazing things that they've taken from other games. So do you remember what was the 3DS Zelda game where was it A Link
Spirit
Between
Track.
Worlds? Was it A Link Between Worlds? The
Yes.
one where you could like basically stick to a surface and go round?
Mhm.
Right. So they've kind of included something like that, where if you go through like a pixelated pipe, you will then appear as like a 2D sprite version of Mario. The music will go 8-bit, and like it will be like a Mario Bros kind of section of that level, and that will lead to like a moon or like a shortcut or whatever, and like those are just littered all over the place. It's really
That's really
fucking
smart.
yeah. It's like it's a bunch of really smart ideas in one kind of package of joy.
It
It's like
it's
I've not been able
made
to stop
me
playing it since I played it.
consider getting a Switch.
It's put it this way: between Zelda, Splatoon, like Mario Rabbids, Odyssey, Arms, like even stuff that's coming like later in the year. I think Pokken's due shortly. Like the Switch has genuinely like some of the best first year lineups I've ever seen of a console.
Really, Arms?
Yeah, like Arms is supposed to be really good. I just never picked it up. And they've been the way that Nintendo has done both its single player and its multiplayer stuff. They've continually supported it. Like every time I go on my Switch, there's something new for Splatoon. There's a
Yeah, they
Splatfest this weekend. Like hot breakfast versus cold breakfast, but they've added like new
hot
weapons to
breakfast.
that. Yeah, obviously, but I got into an argument about with Therese about that. It's just like no
Wait, she
hot
thinks
breakfast.
cold breakfast.
Yeah, she's like, but like
What? Like what?
I don't like fruit and
Cereal?
stuff.
Oh
Yeah, and
fuck off.
cereal. Yeah, I was
Oh
like, no,
fuck off. No,
yeah,
it's a fry up.
yeah, or bacon and like pancakes and stuff like that.
Oh, pancakes. Why did she ever say cold breakfast?
She's not a heavy
Oh.
breakfast person, and I was like, that's
I am the worst person for breakfast. I always feel like really sick in the mornings and can't really. But see the days where I'm like, oh, I'm ready for breakfast. Oh my god! Like, there's nothing better than. I mean, pancakes is.
I mean, I've seen me have like breakfast stuff or dinner sometimes with like,
Oh
just
yeah, yeah. Brenner, Brenner's the best meal
Brenner.
of the day.
Yeah, like that was the thing. But
And
yeah,
then
like
if you have it around Christmas, it's Yule Brenner.
sounds like one of the characters from Thor. Um, but yeah, like I don't know. The Nintendo
I'd
has
love
done
to
this.
see Yule Brenner. Or
Nintendo's done this amazing job of continually supporting stuff and just while Mario doesn't need anything else, there's definitely scope for them to do stuff like that with like new worlds and whatever else. But that game certainly doesn't need it with the amount of content that's in there. I think there's like 900 moons in there,
oh yeah, it's a ridiculous number.
way more than that, and I'm like just coming up to about 400. But some of those are like really fucking difficult. There's so if you remember the original trailer, there was a section where Mario was jumping rope.
Yeah,
There are two moons involved in that, where one is for getting about 40, and then the other one is for like 100, and it is real fucking difficult. To
I've played
like,
Final Fantasy 9, which has a jump rope minigame, and it is the worst.
yeah, it's kind of infuriating, but I I don't know if I'm just getting timing wrong or what, but I can get maybe to about 46, and then I swear,
Is it one of those ones where it's like, now we're at 10, we're going to speed up. Now we're at 20.
yeah, and then it gets to about 40, and then it's just like just crazy.
It's just once you find the rhythm for each section, it's fine. But when you hit like 40 and you don't get a chance that you're like, I just need like one or two to get me going. One or two to
It's
get
also
me
the
going.
fact that Mario does the like from a standing jump, the second jump is always higher than the first.
Okay.
So you have to compensate for that. um, but yeah, no, that game is incredible. If you are genuinely thinking about pick up a Switch because of that, like I would highly recommend going for it.
It's the thing that puts me off is it's still early days.
Yep.
Like there have been cases in the past where Nintendo has got good games out and then decent third party support and then all falls away.
So I would disagree with that one. Nintendo's always launched a console with like, here's one game, and we promise these games are coming down the line. So remember when the 3DS launched?
Yes, I do.
Remember the game that they were pushing like pre-orders was the new 3D Ocarina of Time, and then that came eventually.
Yeah.
Like that's been the way that Nintendo does like its consoles. Like a GameCube, it was like here's Luigi's Mansion and Pikmin, and there's a Mario game coming at some point. I feel like Nintendo's kind of hit its stride in the first year, and there's definitely been enough time since like the Wii U kind of fell on its ass where they've kind of started the development cycle of stuff. So rather than them going, "Oh, we're promising the world this time," we're like, "Here's a game. It's launching in 6 months. Bang." And I feel that there's going to be a lot more of that as time goes on. I mean, they've got the Xenoblade Chronicles coming soon. I think that's the big one. They've already said they're working on a Pokemon game that will be next year. Did they say? There's going to be stuff rolling out, and they're addressing the really shitty things that they did with the firmware. Thankfully,
Apparently, Alienware comes out in like a week.
yeah, Alien Noir's out soon.
Doom,
Skyrim, Doom. There are
Farming Simulator.
there are issues with Alien Noir, but I'm
Uh-huh.
sure we can cover that later.
Yep.
um,
Skyrim.
Wolfenstein 2 is
Uh,
next year. There's just there's just
there's some
stuff,
stuff. There's
and
some stuff.
it seems to
But
be the
the
whole of
problem
the
is like again, the problem is like I've got Doom. I've like played L.A. Noir. Like, like Skyrim's coming out on something else. Coming up is not a lot of.
So
Like, yeah, I'm just a bit skeptical. I'm not saying that they don't have things coming up or they don't. It's just a bit. I still feel it's a bit early.
so how much do you like indie games?
I really like indie games.
So this seems to be, aside from Steam, this seems to be the new home for like indie game stuff.
But I just bought a big PC.
I know, but that's where you play your main games, then you play your indie games on the go wherever you are on a Switch.
Yeah, true, true.
And like there is stuff that you haven't played, like Zelda, like Mario Kart, like Splatoon, like
I
Mario,
have
like
played Mario Kart.
yeah, but
No, I know. So have you been playing anything else? Or is
Uh,
it just like sinking all your time into
that's kind of
good
been
old
my
Mario?
major time sink recently. Aside from that, I bought a few things in the Steam sale, but nothing really to talk
Ah,
about.
I just feel Steam needs to sort of shit out because that sale had like quite a lot of games on that front page, but then you hit view all specials, and then it filtered it in with the rest of the garbage, and I was like, well, this is basically unusable.
Here's your horror
Like,
games. Oh wait, and a million visual novels. And it's like, well, I
yeah,
suppose they are horrific, but
just
so
like
so I so I wound up
I remember.
buying Torchlight 1 and 2 because they're like $2 a
Cool.
piece. And I also bought uh Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition for
Why
like 4 quid.
you didn't enjoy that game the first time round?
Apparently it's been patched and rebalanced, and so I don't know.
You really like it wasn't it wasn't the balancing that you had a problem with. You weren't complaining that like it broke constantly. You didn't enjoy the very core of that game.
I know. I don't know why I bought it, but there's a bunch of stuff on my wish list as well that's just dumb as well. So,
Oh yeah, I've plenty of dumb stuff in my wish list. But
like,
you're not me. You're
Rep-
smarter than that.
Republic Republic Commando is on my wish list for some reason, but that wasn't on sale, so I didn't buy that. Yeah, that's really about it. Aside from games, been watching Stranger Things.
I haven't.
No.
I've not seen it yet.
Oh, so apparently that's only like 9 episodes long this season.
That's fine.
We just finished up like episode 7 last night. And there's 2 episodes to go. It's
I'm
good.
alright with that.
It's good. It's good. Punisher's out in like two
I
weeks.
yeah, no. That I enjoyed that new trailer. If you've seen the first one, you don't need to see the second one. That first one does literally everything you need to get you back. It, it's not that the second one was bad. It was just that added nothing.
Well, added
Like
a
it
date.
didn't make, yeah, but it didn't make me more excited apart from the date. But they could have just said, "Here's the date." Um, but do you know what I mean? Like that first trailer is perfect because it starts off quite slow. Like really, you're just like, okay, okay, and then he just murders everything.
In time
But
to
yeah, I'm
Metallica's one.
in time to Metallica's one, and it's so good. But yeah, I've been thinking a lot about the old days of the 22 episodes like series. I've been watching a lot of The Good Place, and that show is just amazing. Ted Danson and Kristen
Oh
Bell.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You
It's
mentioned it
on
last time.
Netflix.
Yep.
Yeah, so that shows. I would say that both first episodes, maybe in the first series, first 2 episodes, take a like can be a bit slow. But once those series get going and they get going pretty quick, it's one of the best shows around right now.
Yeah, Ted Danson's been in the new Curb quite a bit, but he's not name dropped the new show yet for some reason. He normally does that whenever he's in
Oh,
something.
really?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just been like that show's so good. And it's only like 13 episodes per season. I'm totally fine with writers writing within limits rather than trying to pad out a season
Yep.
with with filler episodes. And I'm gonna say like Brooklyn Nine Nine's probably the only one that's still doing that, and they're doing it quite well. Like, there's not been a lot of like just that shark porn episodes, if you know, like
What, the
Friends.
Friends? Oh right,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
it's like it's the perfect example of a shit filler episode. Like they do a good job of those kind of episodes just being at least mildly enjoyable. But like I mean, we talk about Luke Cage and how that was a bit too much at 13 episodes,
Yeah. So net
and it
like
might be
so Stranger Things is very lean. It's very
yeah,
lean this season. But in doing that. The CGI and stuff and everything that they use is way better. It's good. You should probably watch that if
Yeah,
you haven't.
it's. I'd rather them just use uh, what they want to use. It
Yep.
ends up being so much better for everyone.
Not sure how many episodes Punisher is. They've not said. Wonder
9,
if it'll be
13,
10.
10. But yeah, speaking of games that are really relaxing and the way you were talking about
Yep.
SteamWorld Dig, like it just reminded me of that I've been playing a Lobster Lattice.
I saw that pop up on Steam. Like I think it was last night.
That's that game's so fucking good.
Yeah.
That game is really, really good. I've sunk about maybe 10, 13 hours into it. Um, I just so it's from the guys that make Crusader Kings.
Okay.
Um, and it really seems to cut a line between Crusader Kings and Civ. Like I see a lot of Civ in this game, more than not more than I see Crusader Kings, but they've the way that they've taken like not taken things out, but like taken a step back from how intricate Crusader Kings is. Like in that game, you can basically anyone in that game has an opinion of you,
Okay.
and there are that's every leader's wife, child, and then vassals, wives, children. So in this, you're just dealing directly with races, different empires. You create your own race at the start, or you pick from a subset, and you form like their government, their beliefs, and what type they are, which tends to determine what kind of planet they live on. So I'm a bunch of bird people who are like have an election once every 20 years, really
Right.
spiritual, really egalitarian, um, and about like discovery. So that's been fun, just researching everything. And it's weird because I've started the first, say, maybe like 10, 20 years. I just played the game on normal speed, just trying to get to grips with everything, which is quite a long time. I'm probably only, I think I just had my second election, so it's 40 years since the start of the game.
Right.
Um, but now that I'm further in and like my empire is bigger now and that I have more things to do, that I'm just kind of waiting on the next thing ticking over. Like, and I've started speeding it up, so I feel that I'll reach 22 or 2300 before like a lot quicker than I would have. But I've hit my fourth planet now.
Okay.
So you start off with one, and you are a race that's just discovered like proper space travel, like more than just flying to the moon and back. And you slowly build up like on the planet you have a tile system that has resources. Like this game is resource abound. I've got minerals, I've got energy, I've got food, I've got research points, I've got. But once you, it's not as complicated as it looks on first glance. Like you really only have one or two that determine anything.
Okay.
Um, so you slowly build up like you'll get one extra population over time, and you put them to work on your planet, and then you can build science ships which go out to different. Is it solar systems then galaxies, or galaxies then solar systems?
No, it's solar systems then galaxies.
So yeah, you basically send them to a solar system, and you can get them to just automatically survey all the planets. That'll tell you if they're habitable, if they've got any minerals that you want to build a research post on with your construction ship. Then you've got your military, and then you can build eventually, if you find a planet that's habitable enough and you want to do it and you've got enough influence, you can build a colony ship, and then that goes and flies and lands, and then that takes like 2.5 years to like ferment.
Terraform? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, no, so
Okay.
it's not terraforming
Oh,
because I've just unlocked terraforming and I'm
okay.
currently terraforming. That takes about 10 years. Um, it's basically establishing your population, getting them to a place where they've settled. Um, but terraforming is changing the planet's fucking,
Ecosphere, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that's expensive.
Yeah, I'd
So
imagine.
things have really ramped up probably in the last like 5 hours, where like I'd slowly started spreading out. So fire is or your borders are controlled by a radius from any planet that you have settled on, or you can build frontier outposts, which are basically like land markers, like this is mine, go away, and you
Yep.
can only mine or build within your borders. So apart from frontier outposts, I think. No, yeah, apart from a frontier outpost, you can just kind of put them out and stake a claim. Um, so I'd got like like two plus in a frontier outpost. Then I met this place, and they were like, "We don't like you." And I was like, "Oh." And then they went, "We're just kind of on a goal to eradicate your species." And I was like, come, come on. But also they were just kind of chill. Like that was kind of their ethos, but they weren't actively pursuing it. Like they've not declared war on me or anything, and they're my next door neighbor.
Okay.
So you send out your science ships, they can scan, they find you get quests essentially they're called anomalies, where you it's just a weird thing that can happen on a planet. You research it, and it will give you like more research points, or it will do this, or it will put you down a chain that's like, oh, you found giant statues of space gods. Do you want to worship them?
So it
Um,
sounds like you're still super early on then, because apparently that game becomes a lot about people management later
so
on.
so that was my first. That was probably about 4 hours ago.
Right.
I've encountered five more since then.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of them are like vastly superior in like weapons and think that I'm an adorable child. Other
Yep.
ones are like kind of similar to me. They're just kind of going about their business. Like so, I've met quite a range of different species, and like the size of the map is pretty substantial, especially since like so you have your solar system and then you click galaxy map and that will zoom out and just show you stars dotted, and then you can zoom out to see the whole galaxy, and it's I wouldn't want to sit there and count them, and I think mine's is only like a medium map. um, but yeah, it just seems to have taken a lot of the things that I just found really clunky to get. Not not that it's easy to do what you want to do in Stellaris, but I just found that Crusader Kings was just too much. I just felt bogged down by all the like trying to marry people off to other people to get their, and then getting their um their opinion of you up, or it just felt too weighty. And I'm sure they're like I enjoyed it for what it was, but just couldn't really sink my teeth into it. Where Stellaris has really hit that nail on the head of like it seems a wee bit more. intricate than something like Civ. Um,
So I
but
don't know if
not to
you've
the
heard Austin Walker of Waypoint talk about Stellaris a lot. It's a game they keep going back to on their what is the podcast they do?
Waypoint Radio?
Sorry, Waypoint Radio. Yep, they keep going back to it occasionally. And one of the things that they keep bringing up is the way that you can gerrymander in that game, so that none of the races rise up against you.
All
Um,
right.
so the game has inbuilt systems that allow you to do that, to basically kind of neuter power from specific races, which I always think is really interesting. But there seems to be like grand overarching, like, you know how you run about the anomalies, or there are big ones later on that will
Yeah,
like.
I've bumped into a couple, like not huge, but like they do really vary in size or importance.
Of like, here's this probe from this superior race that's coming in like 100 years to come in, like annihilate you all, sort of thing. So it seems super interesting in that aspect. But yeah, there's some weird political and
Oh yeah,
socio-economic
there's
systems in that thing.
tons of weird social stuff, um, and everyone's like got their own like opinions and beliefs, and like there are some people who are just like, I would never ever trade you my star charts, like ever, or my research. Why would I trade you my research? Where are the people that I paid a guy like 1,000 energy because I had 4,000 sitting around. And he was like, "Yeah, for 30 years, I'll totally just share all my research with you." Like, um,
Or like you'll buddy up with other races who are like non-religious, and then the religious people will start getting antsy at you because they are non-believers.
oh,
And
you. So I've just you can uplift civilizations. I've just discovered a like a primitive civilization. They're in the medieval age at the moment. So I built an observation post, and you can either like passively observe them, which just kind of gets you information about them but leaves them alone. You can
the first directive. It's the first directive.
yeah, you can aggressively observe them, which
That's not the
basically
first
is you're dragging them up, but can have unforeseen consequences. Or you can actively um, observe them, which is kind of like teaching them and giving them a helping hand, but letting them get on with stuff, which basically is indoctrination. It's basically like you're raising them to be another one of you, like you want them to become part of your empire. I'm totally fine with that.
re-education.
Yeah. So I now have um, four planets, four planets, and I'm terraforming a fifth. I've just discovered terraforming. It's really expensive and takes a really long time. Um, Influence plays a large part, and I'd really love to get more because it's probably the rarest resource, and it's political. Like you can straight up rig elections.
That's a
Um,
weird way to describe influence as a resource.
Yeah, I know it is. Because currently I get like 1.2 a month or something. The reason I was up at 4 at one point, but each observation post costs influence per month um to maintain. Um, and also edicts, which are like, okay, we're gonna it's propaganda. Everyone will love our ethics. This lasts for 10 years, or you can do them at a monthly basis and it costs like X amount a month. I've got one that's on a 10-year contract, which is promoting research. Um,
Just like Animal Crossing.
and yeah,
Yeah.
and then there's the ones that are just monthly. You can turn on and off as you will, but yeah, you can straight up rig elections. So like each one of your leaders has his own political ideology, and for 200 influence, which is quite a lot, you can just straight up be like, this guy, it's over now. I didn't have enough. The first election, I was like, absolutely, I just want this guy re-elected. He seems most
Well,
in line with what I want.
you set up a shit posting group, and then
Yeah,
like buy, spend a bunch of money on Facebook, and yeah, there you go. That's you sorted.
yeah. He's I've currently got my internal affairs looking at the Ubari email hacking.
Yep.
Subtle cuts
Yep.
here on Headset Abuse. One thing I would probably the only criticism I've had with it is that the research um, skill tree is not viewable, which is really annoying. So when you're assigning new research, you'll get one of three options, and they will have like types. Obviously, with it, there's three different types of research, and they're just completely separate trees.
Right.
It's like physics, engineering, and society. Um, but in like engineering, you'll have three options, and it'll be like afterburners. This is in the rocketry like type, and that'll unlock more rocketry type. Like that'll be somewhere, but I can't see that. That
Okay,
that
right.
leads on to
Yeah, I
something.
don't like that. I
So
like to
it's
be able to
that
pre-plan.
I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, and I sometimes that shit can be overwhelming. I totally like. Sometimes you open up a skill tree, you're like, what am I even looking at? But the thing with skill trees is you take a minute to look at the start and the end of any skill tree, and you get a rough idea of what each of them mean.
Yep.
Um, but it's just like I've kind of just learned to ignore the fact that I can't see it and just be like, right, whatever. These are the three I want. I understand that I'll roughly be going into more of that and pick one. But yeah, that game, it's like I'm losing hours to that game. It's so just you put it on, the music's this grand space orchestra. It's just a really good game to lose yourself in. Really, really enjoying it. And it was going relatively cheap.
Cool.
Apart from that, I've been playing some Neo.
Oh yeah. Okay. How's your
Yeah,
voyage in Neo going?
really good. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, it's definitely a Dark Souls game with the running back to the bosses, and like you think that every enemy is so difficult and so hard, and then you realize that you can just run by everyone because it's a Dark Souls game. But no, I'm really enjoying it. I just beat the first like area.
Okay.
Well, technically second. London is the first one, but it's a tutorial.
Right. Okay.
Um, but yeah, the gameplay's still really holding up. I really like the monster design. I really like it's just um I reset my skill points to now that I was a couple hours in, and that was really like so you get a book and it costs like 10,000, which is I've got about 40,000 at the moment.
Okay.
But the first time you buy it, it then becomes 30,000, and then so um yeah, I've got like I bought it just to realign because I was like, I kind of know where I want to be now. Just reset them. But I'm just like, I'll. I like just putting that game on and doing like a level or two. Um, it's really good for that sort of short bite. Um, but yeah, that's apart from that, our talking about going to real world games, our Blood Bowl tournament continues on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we played our sixth of seven games. I remain undefeated, but I have not won every game, which upsets me. I tied my last game,
Oh right. Okay. That makes sense.
and our very own Dave Rose is 0 for 6.
Are some of
He
those
is
just not showing up,
not.
or is that
Oh no, no! He has shown up to every game. He has. He was so salty last week. So salty, so bitter about defeat. Um, and he's playing me next.
Oh well, that'll go well.
uh And we play the same race, so
Okay, even better.
yeah, yeah. And I think like 8 of his players are dead, but whatever. So yeah, I've managed to sink some hours into actually put some hours into games that I want to finish, apart from Stellaris, because that
Yeah,
game
because you'll never
doesn't
finish
really
that.
have it. So one of the first games I've ever just put on Iron Man mode straight away. Um, like autosave and can't load saves. It's the only way to get the achievements. So I was like, meh, why not? It's quite easy to like cheese. The autosave isn't that frequent, which is both very, very annoying and handy when you want to re-roll like failed anomalies.
Yeah.
Um, but I really wish there was a way to just be like save now, because when you want to turn off that game, you can just exit, but then it'll just take you back to your last autosave. And when you're, doing 6 actions at once, you kind of want them to save because you don't want to go back in and be like, what was I doing?
It's a Skyrim issue. You do like however many hours out in the wild and then not enter a building and not save.
That stuff.
Yeah.
Mark, what can you tell me about Animal Crossing?
Animal Crossing is a game.
Uh huh.
In Japan, it's called the Botsu no Mori.
Uh huh.
They released one on the 3DS the same week as The Last of Us.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I don't remember. Like, I wound up buying both of those and then only playing one.
The worst one.
The best one, you mean?
Play The Last of Us.
So yeah, Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct for Animal Crossing. What was the name of it?
Huh?
Camping Super Fun Time.
Camping Super Fun Time.
Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. That's what it's called. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. It kind of looks like a almost full Animal Crossing game.
Do you think that they've made Animal Crossing New Leaf, but where it should have been on a phone?
Yes and no. So there's no house, there's no town, there's no.
Hold
Yeah, I know, I know.
on! You can't be like, oh, it looks like they made Animal Crossing on a phone. So there's no Animal Crossing.
So the way it works is you are running a campsite. You have your own RV, which takes the place of your house.
Okay.
So you can do the exact same stuff that you would do in your house, but it's a much more limited space. You can upgrade that space to have two
Yeah.
floors.
Yeah,
Um,
you can.
yep.
Give me my Tom Nook.
So Tom Nook doesn't run that. It is a group
His
of
nephews?
no, it's a group of 3 Italian American sounding penguins.
Sorry?
Yep. Um, so you can get a loan from them and pay it back. But also Tom Nook is totally in the game. But in this one, he sells you
Bugs.
leaf tickets that you have to pay for with
Oh,
real money.
no.
Um, and there is straight up just on the best value option for that is the icon for it is just Tom Nook in a bathtub full of tickets.
Okay.
Yep. Which is kind of amazing. So the way that they pitched that was that you won't have to pay for tickets.
You don't have to. You don't have
No.
to pay Tom Nook. Yeah,
You can
you
get
don't
them
have to pay
through.
Tom
Yeah,
Nook.
you can get them through general gameplay, but I'm assuming that's going to be way more limited than just like,
Tom
hey,
Nook always gets his fucking money.
he does.
Mark's
Um,
going to put a lot of money into this.
so bear in mind that I put like however many hours into
No, they did that game
egging.
like 6 months ago.
What one egging?
Oh, no, Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah, I was playing that like not too long ago as well. It seems neat in that it is a Animal Crossing experience for phones. So as I said, there's no one world that you can navigate around. It's more of a condensed version of each map. So rather than walking from place to place, you will pick a place on a map, and you will be given a little area to walk around. So that might be like the lighthouse, or I think they said the quarry for like mining tickets or something.
Oh,
Yep.
How much do you have to put a certain amount of your RAM on the dedicate a certain amount of your RAM to
no,
find
it's not
New
like
Leaf
that.
tickets?
But there is crafting. There's a lot of crafting in this game where you have to get resources and then give them to the what's the name of the blue sheep?
I don't know. I only know KK Slider.
KK Slider is
Dog.
the dog. Yeah, so there's no museum in this one, so there's no fossils unless they add that in later on. But then
Can I make a wild prediction? You're gonna get this game, and then you're gonna play Animal Crossing New Leaf again.
possibly.
I think
Um,
that's what's gonna happen.
I mean, it looks like a great appetizer for a Animal Crossing Switch game.
Is an Animal Crossing Switch game coming?
Yeah, they've said as much. Yeah,
But like,
but with this coming out, it makes me think that that might be a couple years away, rather than cannibalize their user base from the phones through to the Switch. It's like one of those things where like you get stuff crafted, it takes a length of time. That length of time will be dependent on how big the item is.
you are absolutely just going to get this game, and it's gonna not scratch the itch of Animal Crossing for you, and you're
Probably
just
not.
going to pick up New Leaf
Yeah.
again.
Um,
Yeah,
it makes me real
which is
sad
going
that.
to be really annoying because you're going to have to carry around your 3DS and your Switch.
Yep. I don't know. I just want it.
Did you want you should pick up A Link Between Worlds?
I don't need that. I've got Mario Odyssey. Um, yeah, I don't know. It got me interested. Apparently, it got soft launched in Australia. If you make a Google account and link it to the Australian store, you can just straight up just download that game just now.
What other game was that? Was it Pokemon Go was the exact same thing, and I think Fire Emblem was the exact same thing. Because remember,
Potentially.
people were using Pokemon Go just through
Oh yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
download, like just a website
Yep.
download. And it was first. I'm sure it was first in Australia, and then so was Fire Emblem.
Yep. So the actual launch is
Testing.
later in November. I don't know. It might just be testing waters, like network stuff and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, people have been playing it. They say it's pretty good. Um, I'll play it. Trez seems interested as well. So if you've not watched the Nintendo Direct, it's worth checking out. They've added some stuff, but it's mostly just like a phone version of Animal Crossing.
So I'm very very happy because Monster Hunter World announced the beta, and it's the week I took off for my birthday.
The PS4 only beta. I have a PS4.
Yeah, it's oh yeah, so you do. God damn it! And also, nah. Yeah, PS4 only beta, which is weird.
It's not
I
really
mean,
a beta though. Let's face it.
no,
It's if it's in
no,
December, it's
a demo.
that comes out in January. Yeah.
It's a demo. But hey, I'm happy to play a little bit of that game before I buy it. So yeah, it's running from the 9th to the 12th, and
And it's
yeah,
the only Capcom game I haven't heard terrible things about other than Resident Evil 7 this year.
mhm. Yeah, that it looks like they've from like gameplay demos and stuff that I've seen. It looks like they've kind of um made it.
Westernized and made it more accessible.
I wouldn't say it quite as derisively as that.
I'm not taking it derisively. Like that's what
No,
that
it's
kind of
a
series
real
needed.
tone of your like,
No, that's what that series kind of needed because like
yeah,
it's a steep
it's.
learning curve to get into something like that if you've never played it before.
I feel like they've done what like the later Dark Souls games did, just make it a wee bit easier to get into.
Yep.
Um, but it's still the same game from what it looks like. Uh,
I saw them trying to market it as like Dark Souls meets Destiny meets dinosaurs, which made me go, "Yeah, all right." Don't blame me. Blame
They
Capcom.
shouldn't.
No,
They shouldn't lean into the like. They should
I
not
know.
lean into the Dark Souls stuff because they were the original Dark Souls. Don't hand that over to. I suppose no one says it's a Monster Hunter alike.
That's true.
But no, I'm looking forward to playing a bit of that game. It's going cheap on Amazon.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, well, 46.99 down from 59.99.
Yeah, that 59.99 is just a placeholder price though. That's
Oh,
like
I'm aware.
unless you're Persona 4, you can't get away with that shit. Or GTA 5.
Um, but yeah, the I 44.99 with Prime. I don't pre-order games very often, and it feels weird because I hate pre-ordering games.
I've
But hey,
pre-ordered
it's Amazon.
two
I can
games this
cancel it.
year. I pre-ordered Zelda and Mario.
Mario Odyssey. Yeah, of course. Of course, you pre-ordered those two games. Um, you know what news this week?
Yep.
Yeah.
BlizzCon's
Oh,
happening right
yeah.
now.
Yeah, the one I totally just forgot about. Um, how do you like your World of Warcraft, Mark?
Um, I like my
Bet
World
you
of
have some good
Warcraft.
memories. Bet you have some good memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Well, what if I could tell you you could just go back and play those memories?
Oh yeah, that fan-run server that like where they had the vanilla version of Warcraft.
So they're
Oh no,
announcing
wait, no,
World of
they
Warcraft.
shut it down so they could bring out World of Warcraft Classic.
World of Warcraft Classic.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can go back and play World of Warcraft.
World of
I
Warcraft,
don't know.
WW2.
Would you play that?
Boots on the ground modes. That's what this is, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this came on the heels of the announcement that they're making, unsurprisingly, another World of Warcraft expansion.
No, they're not. Don't be silly, Mark. They said they were
Battle
going
for
to.
Azeroth.
Mark, they said they were going to stop.
Nope,
They said they were
because
going to. They said they were going to stop.
the Horde versus Alliance stuff wasn't enough, so it's now race on race. So World of Warcraft is now a race war. Yep.
What? They're just turning it
Yep.
into a straight up race war.
Well, it's faction on faction, they're calling it, but yeah.
Oh no, 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 no! Faction on faction is Horde and Alliance.
Oh yeah, true.
This is a race war.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, I know. This has to be the last expansion, right?
I don't know. I don't know. They're still the only game that has more subscribers is League of Legends and Player Unknown.
So the other news that came out in the back of this was that StarCraft 2 is going free to play.
Yeah.
Yep. Which
Oh,
seems like a good
yeah.
idea for them, considering that game is kind of encouraging users.
Is it just the base game or is it all the
I think it's
games?
all of them.
And is it the multiplayer ticket?
Oh yes, that's their bread and butter. That's what they want people to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're
And
annoyed that
then
they only have
if
the
you want to
Overwatch
pay.
championships and not the StarCraft ones. So
So speaking of Overwatch, they released a new Overwatch, I don't know if she's out yet, but they announced a new Overwatch hero.
so the only thing I've heard is she's Irish and
It's
a
called Moira.
healer. Is that right?
Yeah. She seems also quite powerful. She seems like an offensive healer.
Well, she
Like
just
she,
yells
yeah,
insults at you,
yeah,
racial epithets.
yeah. She's really looking forward to the World of Warcraft race war. Um, yeah. So it's
Voiced by PewDiePie.
oh God. but yeah, it's cool. I'm really excited. She seems awesome.
Is that enough to get you back into Overwatch?
I duck in and out of Overwatch like every now and again. Usually when other people are playing, I can usually drag them back in. It just depends what multiplayer games there are out at the time. Uh, the last one was Diablo, so you know.
Wait, when it originally came out, or like one that you've been playing recently?
What I've been playing recently.
Right. Okay, that makes more sense. Because Diablo
Yeah,
3 came out a while ago.
no, that's the only. It's the only multiplayer game that's come out since.
It's called Diablo 3 World War 2, and it features a boots on the ground mode. You
and
get to
zombies
watch people open their loot.
and zombies. Yeah, complete Diablo 3.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I completed Diablo 3
All
until I
right.
completed
Okay,
Diablo
that's
3. It's one of those games. There was actually a point, so I beat Diablo, but it's the Rise of the Necromancer thing, so the final boss is the Reaper.
okay.
But there was actually a point when I was playing, so me and friend Joe Donny started a character because he'd been pestering me to get it for literal years. So we started a fresh character and we're playing through all the way through. And at one point I was like, "Fucking hell, are we going to find Diablo?" And he was like, "We killed him." I was like, "What? No!" And he was like, "We we fought him
That was 10
and
minutes
killed
ago.
him." It was way longer than that. But yeah, so it's but I always duck back in and out of Overwatch. Um, so I mean, this will probably spark another uh, return, but if not, I'll definitely be back at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, I also played. Just popped into my head. Saw 2, the video game.
Oh, is this because it was Halloween?
Kind of, yeah. Like I know, just launching back it straight back into what we've been playing because we have been playing. Yeah, Saw 2 and Outlast 2. Outlast 2 continues to be real fucking weird. Um, but the only bit that annoys me is that it's the openness is fun, but there's a lot more moments where I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, I got that impression from the demo. And it was just like, I'm going to run through this cornfield aimlessly till I find something that looks like a
There's a
gap that I can squeeze through.
there's a couple of cornfields, but yeah, there are a couple of like there was one we spent ages looking for looking for something and end up being a gap in a fence that I'd missed because it was in a corner, a very
Yep.
dark corner that and there's a person trying to kill you. Um, but yeah, it's still fun. Like it's just you get lost a bit easier. And yeah, Saw 2 is fun. Like it's not a great game by any means, but it does like enough with what it's given. Um, like a lot of quick time events, a lot of like weird puzzles and stuff. But we were enjoying it for its kind of weird goofiness. Are you all right there with the sun and
I'm
the?
turned into Two Face. Hold on, let me go close a blind. It'll take like 2 seconds.
Just rotate like 30 degrees. Is that better?
That's better. There we go.
That's better. There. So yeah, Sotu's dumb, goofy fun.
A lot of eye stuff in that game. Is that right?
Nah, it's
No.
just the start.
All right.
We do plan on finishing it. We got probably about for one, it's quite long. We played it for quite a long time.
Was that
And
THQ joint?
fuck knows.
I think it was THQ
We
joint.
only turned I've only turned that game on once, so. But yeah, we got pretty far into it. I think we're like chapter 3 or 4 or 5.
Okay.
Or 5 of 7. But I remember checking, and we were like relatively far through it. It seems to be running out of ideas,
Kind of like the Saw movies.
which, yeah, hey, they're releasing another one.
Yeah, I know. Jigsaw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I'm assuming they're going to reboot the series with or something. Because, you know, studio's got to make money.
Because Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those movies were made for very little money and made a lot of money. Um, I think all 9 of them have been like made for less than like
God, has there been nine
I
of them?
don't know, 8, 9. I think there's been 8.
Wouldn't surprise me. It
Yeah,
wouldn't
it's a lot of
wouldn't
them.
surprise me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, last one was 7 years ago.
And we thought they were done, and it was a happier time.
Yeah, what was the happier time? You got
Paris
any more
Games
news?
Week.
Yep.
Paris Games Week happened. Sony had the conference. They had a bunch of announcements on their pre-stream. Uye? Is that was the name of the journey-looking, dragon-flying sort
Yeah,
of
I don't know. I don't know
thing?
how to pronounce that.
Ore is what it's called. Yeah, it was announced and then released. It's the Sega Saturn style.
Which
And no, they announced Splunky 2 on that pre-stream,
so weird.
which is coming to PlayStation and
I
PC
don't.
first.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well,
And the Splunky guy dies. If you watch the trailer,
yeah,
he's dead. So yeah,
of course. Um, announced a date for the Shadow of the Colossus remake.
yeah. Which
You gonna pick that
kind
up?
of looked no, it kind of looked really uninteresting to me, to be honest.
It looks like Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
Are you not looking for more Shadow of the Colossus?
No, the thing kind of got me excited from the conference was Ghosts of Tsushima, I think it was called. The Sucker Punch open world samurai game that was announced. Looking at me blankly there, Ali. Did you watch the trailer?
I'm reading about Mario Party, the top 100.
Oh yeah, the 3DS game. That
What is this?
it's the top 100 Mario
Why would
Party.
you make that? It's a list of 0.
Bumper balls.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghosts of Tsushima.
Yep, the open world samurai game made from the guys who made Infamous 1 and 2.
I think it's pronounced Neo.
No, it's not. I don't think it's a Dark Souls. They didn't really show much
No, it's the guy.
gameplay stuff.
The main guy is Irish. He has to go to Japan because someone died.
So it's Danny Dwyer.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm here in Japan looking at the most dangerous monsters.
I said Danny
I don't know.
Danny O'Dwyer.
That accent just went all over
That's
the
Danny
place.
Dyer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, do you want Danny Dyer's Most Dangerous Monsters?
I,
Who's not Irish.
no, he's not.
What?
Yeah, that game looks neat. They showed a trailer for The Last of Us 2 that kind of seemed weird. In that it didn't give you any preface as to what characters were being shown or what relevance it had to the story. It just kind of seemed like here's this thing that we thought was neat, and also woman's gonna get her arm bludgeoned with a hammer. I don't know.
Did it make you excited for owning a PS4?
Given that there was only 2 games that kind of really hyped me, I don't know. I'm one of those games that I can get for PC. Trez seemed really interested in the Spider-Man trailer, though.
I'm really interested in Spider-Man. Um,
They showed more of the
I
story stuff. Miles Morales is in that.
Yeah,
By looks of
they
things,
teased that there.
yep, Norman Osborn is running for mayor or re-election for mayor. Apparently, they will have
Like
classic Spider-Man villains like Shocker.
Shocker's fun.
I don't know. It could be okay. Could be terrible. Could be okay. We'll see.
I want a. Everyone's been wanting a good Spider-Man game.
Yep, since like Spider-Man 2, and it's not happened yet.
Yeah.
So
So we're waiting on. I liked Ultimate Spider-Man.
okay,
The game. You played as Venom as well. 8 people.
that sounds like Venom.
It was
What else
fun.
did they show? They showed a really weird and insensitive bit of David Cage's Detroit, which used child abuse as a weird window dressing thing. Which he then gave an interview with Eurogamer, which he was incredibly, I don't want to say cagey. That was deliberate. Like he was very vague about why he was using this and didn't seem to understand the ramifications of the stuff he was depicting.
Isn't that David Cage all over?
Yeah, kinda. But like the main thing that got picked up from that interview was Eurogamer asking why he chose to use child abuse when obviously that people are still affected by it, and he basically snapped and said, "Would you ask this to a film director?" To which they said yes. Um, I don't know if
What's the
there's
point of an interview? Like,
if there's a person that I trust least to handle a very delicate subject like that, it would be David Cage, followed closely by Dennis Dyack. Um, I don't know. We'll
like
see.
that's a standard interview question. Why are you using this? It's a sensitive subject. Can you talk more about how you approached it?
And his
Like,
exact quote was, "No one goes into things wanting to talk about child abuse, but then that is a direct choice you are making to put that in your content."
yeah,
And he was just like, I do things that like gives me and like it basically comes down to
yeah,
emotional
that's
manipulation for something that is completely unearned. But yeah, I don't know. I think David Cage's storytelling at best is terrible. So
yeah, like, yeah.
I don't
He
know.
should stick to weird murder mysteries.
Or he clearly wants to make movies, so why not have him go make a movie and for
You want to
incredibly
see David?
no
You
no
want to see David Cage's movie?
it keeps him out of the games industry. I didn't say like I would go see it. I didn't go
Like, I
see a
mean,
single Ivy Bowl movie. I'm not going to go see a David Cage movie.
Heavy Rain was an interesting game.
What's the definition of interesting, though, there? Interesting in terms of mechanics, interesting in terms of story, setting, themes,
I
because,
would say mainly mechanics.
oh, where day to day things are
Theme
done
was
with, like, completely
water.
arbitrary and unnatural
Yeah.
button prompts. Right, okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
So, from the
Interesting.
interview
You
from
can't say that
Eurogamer,
wasn't interesting.
From the interview from Eurogamer, there is a scene in that segment that they
Uh-huh.
showed where you have to pull off the attacker, the father attacker attacking his child by shaking the controller.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'll go back to Heavy Rain where I
Yeah,
climb up a muddy hill by holding 8 buttons.
yeah.
But
Remember
nah,
that? Remember that? That was.
yeah, no, but yeah, like that was interesting. That's what I mean by interesting.
But interesting is such a vague term, though. Interesting can be bad or good.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I'm aware. It was relatively unique for the time.
Yes.
Is that
Again,
better? Is
unique.
that more
Unique can
more
be.
succinct? No, I'm not like people have their problems with Heavy Rain. I'm not saying they're good. I'm not saying that David Cage is a fantastic game maker. I'm saying that in the past he has made interesting games. And games that have not, let's say, been extremely tasteless. The attack scene in the flat was kind of bad in Heavy Rain. Fly my room.
All right. Yeah, there's. I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know.
this this thing seemed like personally to me, this thing seemed uninteresting from the get go. Throwing stuff like this in to kind of
Yeah,
grip people just kind of makes it seem sleazier. You know, like I've got no tolerance, especially in the times we are living in currently. Like the appetite for that and the tolerance that I have for that is an all-time low. Anyway, you know, it's no,
nah.
no.
Yeah, look, it's at least at this stage, if he should have been, if he can't defend his work, then why are you making it? Like, as it's purely like, if he wants to go down the movie, like would you ask that to a movie director? It's
I like
just,
I can see that happening anyway, given that Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls were not the commercial successes that they thought they would be. Um,
yeah. I
and
mean, if you look like,
reports from those studios where David Cage is involved, he does not take or listen to criticism very well.
yeah, he's Vince McMahon. But if you look at like, take Ken Levine for example,
Yep.
like, look at Bioshock Infinite. The themes in that at times are not particularly subtle or handled,
Yep.
throw the baseball at the interracial couple or don't. Like, but at least Ken Levine will sit down and answer those fucking questions. Like, he
Oh
will
yeah.
sit down and say,
Yeah, we
I
didn't
wanted
handle
to.
this as well as we thought we could.
Yeah,
But yeah.
or before it, he's saying, these are the themes we want to explore for this reason. Like, this is why I chose this setting. That's like, these are bog standard questions for a person creating a piece of, if you want to call, like, it's hard to call what David Cage does art, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's
Like,
that's the defense that he uses though, and it's like rather than answering the question, he'll go into Vegas. If you
any
get if
art.
you get a chance, go read the Eurogamer interview. But
I,
like, yeah,
I'm going to do that. It's moments after we finish up
he
here.
just comes
But
across as a real piece of shit. So
yeah, like even like artists, people who paint and sculpt. Like, if you go, oh, so what was your thoughts, your thought process on this piece? Would you ask a film director that? What I paint is between me and the canvas. No, that's not, like, the whole point of making something like that is to
nobody
put across a
nobody
message
approaches something wanted to talk about canvas. But
through
yeah,
canvas. They never gets
I
this.
don't know. At the
Yeah,
moment, I'm very much in the camp of fuck that and fuck him.
I
So
I think that David Cage is not adapting with the times. Like, no, I mean that in the sense of, if you look at Fahrenheit, like, he was at least trying to push some sort of boundaries. If you look at Heavy Rain, he was at least trying to push some sort of boundaries. And then with Beyond Two Souls, it was just kind of like a Heavy Rain that didn't know where it was going. And then you look at this, and he's struggling for relevance.
yep, and that game looks expensive. So
Again, looks really expensive.
with the paths
Um,
and the like, I don't know how many encounters there'll be, but like if every single one of them results in different VO, different art, whatever, like
and that game is shiny.
you relatively, yes, I don't think it looks that great, but yeah, in terms of like the excess like actor time, mocap, whatever else, that game seems expensive on the back end.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Whenever that game comes out,
whenever that game comes out.
we'll see. But at the moment, I could not be less excited about anything that that guy has to offer. What else?
You
Sorry,
got
is
anything
anything else?
else?
Uh, Let me double check, make sure there was nothing else on that for Paris Games Week.
I mean, I can't
Um,
really. Oh, I
they
mean,
showed a new Final Fantasy 15 episode.
I did not see that.
No, Ignis is the character they're focusing on, I think. They showed a quick trailer. He puts on a ring. I don't know what any of that meant. They showed the VR fishing thing.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
it's just like fishing in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Um, NeoGaf went down.
Oh, we got to talk about this.
I mean,
Speaking of pieces of shit.
yeah. Speaking
Um.
of pieces of shit, it appears to be back up.
So yeah. Let's break down what happened in the time we were away. There were some allegations circling around on other social media platforms about Evil Lore, the owner of NeoGaf, and the specific incident relating to him getting into a shower with a female who did not want any of that attention. And it was not the first incident to be known of like this. These incidents went the details of this went public. People demanded a statement. The mods of NeoGaf were promised a statement, and days went past, nothing happened. The mods then had a mass exodus, along with several thousand users.
Yeah,
Um,
there was basically a giant abandoned ship.
yep, and just shit posting
Um,
everywhere. There was an amazing thread about
like
Fallout
people,
3
yeah,
of the monsters of Fallout 3, and then it was Evil Lore's face photoshopped onto like super mutants.
um, yeah, there were people doing a lot of suicide posts,
Yep,
like making sure their account gets banned.
yep. So eventually, it
Um,
resulted in the forum going to a 503 error, which is basically the site is down for maintenance. Anytime it did, all the posts would be deleted. Um, the off-topic board disappeared, um, and there was no statement given for a while. Eventually, the mod spun off a forum called Resetera, which is basically a lot of the NeoGAF users moved to. Um, so yeah, the site eventually came back up, and it's still there just now. But Evilor had said, you can read his statement; it's on
yeah,
there. Um, he said that NeoGAF is no longer a place for discussion of social discourse. Conveniently enough, if you get the opportunity as well, Patrick Klepek wrote a well-researched piece of investigative journalism about the incident where he actually got to talk to Evilor, and Evilor came out with a real piece of shit answer, just immediately demeaning of, yeah, she was an ex, despite the fact that she wasn't, and just basically completely dismissing any allegations against him with a, yeah, she's crazy.
oh yeah, that
Um,
wonderful defense.
yep.
Um,
So,
yeah, so I wasn't wanting to get too deep into this. I think our positions are pretty clear on this. Um, I'd say that one good thing about this was the huge abandoned ship.
yep. Don't get me wrong,
That
NeoGAF wasn't.
NeoGaf has never been the most, you know,
I mean, there
safe
are
and
good things
welcoming.
that has to. It was
Yeah,
like
oh
it was
yeah.
a go-to place for news. It was a great place for discussion between
The
developers,
reason I am
whatever
talking
else.
about this is because it was probably or most probably definitely the biggest gaming forum around.
And it
Uh,
was against Gamergate. That was the thing as
yeah,
well. And
and it's just nice to see that once these allegations came out, it was basically just a well, we don't want to be here anymore. Like that's years of groups and cultures and friendships for a lot of people and history, and they were just like, nah, I'm out. And especially for um, what the gaming culture can be. It was nice to see a large community make a good decision, especially in such very unpleasant circumstances.
yep. And those circumstances, I don't feel like yeah, I don't feel like they've been addressed properly by
No,
the
no, no.
people running the forum, um, and it's the fact that they were brushed away in such a like piece of shit manner. Like the whole thing just stinks, and it creates the opportunity for like-minded people to then, you know, be left in that community. Because there were people there who were just like, can we just like stop discussing this so we can talk about games, which is the wrong mentality to have
Oh
about
yeah, absolutely.
this
And
entire
I mean,
situation.
unfortunately, I feel that NeoGAF is just now going to become a place for that.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
but
totally.
it's also going to lose everything that it was. Like that place is no longer going to be, for better or worse, what it has been for the last, say, what, 10 years at
Yep.
least.
Yeah.
Um. So, but that's a separate problem in all this. Those places exist already.
Yep.
Um. One more is just as bad. Like, but again, I didn't. I don't think like you're saying that. Oh, the owner didn't address them properly. He was never gonna. Like, he's a piece of shit. It's like, it's
And not even the
that's
I'm
that.
gay defense either. Like the yeah, she's crazy.
Jesus, that's so yeah, and that is it's part of it is it's addressing it's a larger problem that is coming to light across many industries
Yep.
that has been happening for probably since time began. And it's nice to see that there are at least some people now taking things like this seriously, um, instead of just either completely ignoring it or completely dismissing it.
Yep. And the last month has
Um,
been just non-stop of this sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And we've always had a policy on like on this show and how we conducted ourselves of just don't be an asshole.
yeah,
That
and
doesn't limit yourself to race, gender, whatever else. Just don't be a dick.
yeah, and like I've said this before in here that you can go back and listen to very unsavory things we've said. This show is what 10 years old.
Yeah, gang on it. Yeah.
I started this in my late teens. I was a bit of a shit back then,
Oh,
but
we all were. We all were. Like,
yeah, no, exactly. Like, we said
I'll be the
horrible
first.
things.
I'll be the first to admit that like, I would make jokes that were in pure taste and play up to that sort of thing, but like never ever take them seriously. And even making those jokes and playing to that, I still think demeans that area that you're taking the piss of. Like, there's,
Absolutely,
I would
absolutely.
never
It's
do that in this
it's
day and age now. But that's
but that's the difference. Is like it's like for one, those episodes are still there.
yep,
Like I wouldn't take them down. It's
nope.
not
It's
like
a
I
moment in time. It's like
exactly. And yeah, I look back and I was like, I was wrong. I was shitty, and
yep,
I shouldn't have done it.
yep,
But I've grown. I've become a smarter person to
yep.
not to understand that it's not all about my jokes. Like, and if they're really not funny and are hurting people, then stop fucking doing them.
Yep.
It's not that hard. So yeah, like it's never too late to change, and the quicker you do, the better it is for everyone.
Yep. And that's the key thing
So
is that you have to change as a person to make yourself better for other people.
yeah,
Like when we had Dave on the podcast, like originally, remember we started off which Dave was okay with. We made jokes about his race and like never malicious, but even
yeah,
then,
yeah. It's a joke that back then we thought was funny between friends that we were putting out on a podcast.
yep,
That not only was it not acceptable to us, it like wasn't acceptable anyway, but we thought it was acceptable to do something that could be easily taken out of context of three people that have known each other for a long
yeah,
time, to a lot of like at varying degrees of amounts of people. Like,
yep.
and or to Dave. We make other jokes about Dave.
Oh yeah, we don't need to single out that one
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. If you have to, especially when it comes to things like humor, if you have to go, if that's where you have to go to for your material, you're not funny.
Oh yeah. And, you know, and it takes growth to figure these things out. And
Yeah, and we're not like I'm not a perfect person.
nope.
I quote Hoobastank lines and um, but yeah, I still try and adapt. I still try and grow. I'm not like I am not holding myself up as some sort of virtuous like example. I'm just saying that there's nothing wrong with saying I've been shay.
Yeah, because
A lot
everybody's
of
been
people are
shitty.
really scared
Like
to say that because
everybody's been shitty. Like in some point in someone's life, everyone has been shitty. It's about missing that and knowing when you're
yeah,
wrong
and
and learning from it.
growing and yeah. So yeah, this is a games podcast, but I think I just wanted to kind of, especially with on the grander sense, what's been going on, uh, talk a bit to that.
And
Um,
it's about giving the people who have experienced shit like this the forum to do it on without facing like doubt or harassment or
Backlash, yeah,
like they should be able to recount, grieve, and deal with what they've had to endure without shitty people jumping on the back of it. It's
yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, I think we'll call it there for today.
on a high note.
Well, I'm gonna go and make breakfast and play Stellaris, so and wake up my guest. I'm surprised I woke up this morning. I was
Yeah,
tired.
so am I.
Wait, no. Oh.
No, it's good.
I,
We'll get these
I
things back on the regular here on. Maybe
actually I
not.
offered Donnie wanted to jump on the podcast. He didn't seem to be up for it.
No?
No, I think he wanted to sleep. Yeah. So yeah, we will get this to a more regular schedule soon.
Yep.
When soon will be, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, especially with stuff coming up in the next few weeks, but we'll try our
We
best.
are trying to get this back onto a regular schedule. Um, Mark, do you want to? Where can people contact us?
They can check our Facebook at facebook.com/headset abuse. We are on Twitter at headset abuse, or you can email us questions, comments, whatever to
Pictures.
headsetabuse
Pictures
at
you could draw.
hotmail.co.uk. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. Heads abuse at hotmail.co.uk. Well, thanks for joining me, Mark, on this wildly varying in tone podcast.
Yes.
But yes, you playing anything nice this week?
I'll probably try and complete fully Mario. Maybe delve into some Steam stuff. I got access to the Sea of Thieves alpha for today.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I can talk about that on a podcast, but I will play some of that today as well, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah, what about
Well,
you?
me, Stellaris. I'm really enjoying that game. I'm now looking at Sunless Sea to play, but we'll see if I get into that.
And if you haven't
I've
already,
got
you should
plenty
go
of
see
it for us.
Thor Ragnarok. It's pretty good.
See Amazing Spider-Man as well and Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yes, but probably Thor.
I
Thor's
want to see
really
them in
good.
order.
Yeah, okay. There's no there's no definition of when that's set, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, of course not. But
If you've
whatever.
seen Doctor Strange, you're fine.
I think Thor set like 2 weeks after Doctor Strange,
Yes, I think it is. Like, because
or at least starts like
that's
2 weeks after
that
Doctor
scene that's
Strange.
at the end of Doctor Strange is straight up just in Thor. So
Yeah, so yeah, no, I'm behind my movies. I also need to watch Stranger Things. I'm going to watch Stranger Things this week. We'll talk
yes,
about that next week.
yes, we should.
So a week, a week's worth of spoilers to close your ears to. Um, a week's notice. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I'm hungry and I need to go. Thanks for joining me, Mark, and we will see you all next time. Bye.